This is a phone, and it's the only thing you need to start creating great quality content on YouTube. But over this past year on YouTube, I've been able to add some great free and low cost gear to my setup. So let's head into the recording room and we'll dive into the 7 simple steps for a high quality setup on a low or no budget with your phone. Welcome in. The first thing we have to think about is location. And the main location for every single one of my videos so far on this channel has been right here in my study, also known as my recording room. But there's 3 things that I love about this location, and the first thing is the sound. It's easier to fix bad video than it is bad audio. You can cover up bad video with text, graphics or B-roll, but you can't really cover up bad audio. But there's a big element that I look out for when it comes to choosing location, but most people overlook it. It's the carpet. Because one issue people have when creating their first videos are the acoustics of the room. Right now I'm in my kitchen and you can already hear the difference it makes just because it has a harder floor and less dampening in the room. It kind of sounds like the room has an echo, and this is also known as reverb. So when it comes to editing the video, it sounds like you've been recording inside of a tunnel. So one of the reasons I love this room is because it's carpeted and it dampens a lot of the reverb. Rooms with a carpet or rooms with a rug and plenty of fabric or cushions sound better than empty rooms with hard floors. And I wouldn't be lying if I told you that I created my own little recording booth out of cushions before. Secondly, I love the scene. Little continuity error. There we go, that sorted it. Having a wardrobe, final stand and piano in the background give it that homely kind of feel, which makes new viewers feel at home. And if you are new, it's great to have you here. I also have a whiteboard, which I've used in previous videos. You'll sometimes see some random drawings on there, which you'll find in other pieces of my content. Ah yeah, there she is, my beautiful wife. And that's me when I had hair. And thirdly, it's the setup. I can sometimes be a huge procrastinator, so I need a setup that allows me to just plug in and play without having to worry too much about the setup time. So the majority of the equipment that I use stays in this room, but you want to make sure that wherever you record has good lighting. But lighting your video isn't actually that complicated. There are 2 main types of lights. There's a key light which lights up the subject, in this case me, and you have your background atmospheric lights. Let's go look at some low budget and no cost ways of setting up key lights. There's a big source of light that you can make use of. A lot of my videos have actually used natural lighting as a way of lighting up my face on camera, but I sometimes upgraded my shots by using a desk lamp or a living room lamp. I first started using a desk lamp to light up my face in my videos, which helped out a lot in the beginning, and they actually pull off some pretty good results. But if you have a little bit of money to spend, then I recommend getting the light that does a much better job than a lamp does. I use the Ulanzi VL49 RGB light as a key light, which sits on top of my tripod. These aren't too pricey either, costing about $30 each. For a bit of time, I used my iMac as a soft light before I got my Ulanzi lights. If you have a laptop or monitor around with a bright enough screen, then you could use it as a way to light up your face too. I now use my desk lamp as a way to light up this vinyl stand behind me, just to add some interest to this half of the frame. I used to use my living room lamp to add some depth and interest to the screen, but now I have a lamp behind my wife's exercise mat. I also use this Ulanzi light that I mentioned earlier as a background light to add some depth and interest to the video. And once I close these curtains, you'll see what a big difference it makes. I have 3 different options when it comes to recording my voice. If you're wondering how I got such high quality audio throughout the whole of this video, then it's down to this thing underneath my shirt. How's it pronounced? Lavalier? Lavalier. This is the Boya Lavalier microphone and it's super cheap. This funky little thing comes in handy, especially when you're moving around the room. All you need to do is plug an adapter into your iPhone, or plug the microphone straight into your phone if you're one of the lucky ones, and switch the Lavalier microphone to smartphone mode and it'll record your voice. The Boya Lavalier microphone comes in at around $14 and I've used it for the majority of this video. But for the rest of the video, I'm going to use another microphone. If you fancy a slight upgrade both in style and sound quality, then you could look at something like the Rode NT USB, which is more on the pricier side of things, but it's really worth it. I've used it for all of my videos this year and I've found it to be the best microphone for picking up my voice without having to worry about raising my voice and making the microphone peak. Even though this external microphone is worth the price, you do need an external piece of software to plug the microphone into. I use Logic Pro, which is a paid software, but there are free softwares out there like GarageBand, which comes installed with your MacBooks, or any other free digital audio workstation. Adobe have an awesome free app that makes it sound like your voice is being recorded on a professional microphone. All you need to do is go into your recordings and press record and then upload the file once it's ready. This is a great option for if you're recording a video while sat or stood in a stationary position, All I've done is just got my phone in front of me on the desk here, and I'm recording this part of the video using Adobe AI, and then it enhances the audio for me. And all I need to do once the recording's done is upload it to Adobe, drop in my file, and then it'll enhance the audio for me. Obviously this would mean recording on a separate device, but if you have an old phone with you, like I do, then you could just use that. Just a little side note, I tried uploading it through my phone, but I wasn't able to, so what I've done is airdropped it to my laptop, and I'm going to upload it to Adobe through there. But sometimes an external microphone can go out of sync, which means the audio you've recorded separately can go out of sync with the video that you've recorded on your phone. So if you do record with an external microphone, then here's a little tip. Clap your hands together and you'll be able to see a spike in the waveform, which then allows you to align the spikes in the waveforms from your video and your external microphone so that you can get your audio perfectly in sync. But it'd be a shame to spend all this time working on your video to then get to the editing stage and realise that your camera was all wobbly and shaky. Making sure your phone is secure when recording is a must. Would you watch a YouTube video right until the very end if the footage was all shaky and wobbly? I know I wouldn't, but there are two ways that you can fix this. The first way is by using gear that you might already have at home. In my first set of videos I went for the books and the phone stand approach, and actually it worked pretty well. And if you come over here, I'll show you exactly how I did it. All I did was basically stack books on top of the desk, and on top of the books I had this phone stand. Now I didn't have this iMac back then, so just pretend the iMac is a wall, but this is pretty much the setup that I had. Right, I'll take you back over here and actually tell you a funny story about how I created my own custom tripod once. So there was one time in a video where I used a tripod, this rubber and this masking tape to create my own custom tripod so that I could get a top-down view of my piano that sits behind me. But after doing this for a while, it became a pretty tedious task. So I invested in some equipment to make the process easier and make recording more fun. So instead of rubber and a masking tape, I now use a hammer tripod for recording my videos, which is a really cheap but super reliable tripod, and it helps to keep my phone stable. And it can pretty much do what any expensive tripod can do too. I then use the Ulanzi U-Rig, which is very cheap for what you get. It comes with its own phone clamp, two handles either side, and the option to add pieces of equipment on top. At the moment I'm using it as a phone mount for my phone and the Ulanzi key light, but anything that's wireless like a phone or a light means that it's most likely powered with a battery, and battery is step 5 of the setup process. Imagine you get to the hour mark of recording your super informative, highly valuable video and you decide to take a break. It'd be a convenient point to check your footage and see if it's okay, but you're met with a blank phone screen. Later on you find out that your phone ran out of battery 20 minutes into recording. You've lost 40 minutes of footage, and I can't lie, this has happened to me before. But there are two ways that you can stop this from happening. Firstly, you could connect your phone to a nearby plug, or a pro way of doing this is if you have an iPhone you can connect it to your MacBook or your iMac, but doing this unlocks a little recording hack which I'll share in the next step. As well as charging your phone, you want to make sure that you charge your lights. It's worth having the Ulanzi lights plugged in whilst they're on. This means they'll keep running while you record, which is the next step. Phones are awesome to record on, but they take up a lot of power when recording. So what I do is I plug my phone into my iMac or my MacBook when I'm recording to keep it on charge. But here's the cool hack, which means you'll never have to get up and check whether you're actually in the frame ever again. When I connect to either my iMac or MacBook and open up QuickTime Movie Player, I have the option to view my phone screen. So when I have the camera app open on my phone, I can see whether I'm in frame or not without having to get up. I also have an Apple Watch, and this also has a trick up its sleeve. My Apple Watch can act as a little wireless remote for my phone, so I can use my watch to see whether I'm in frame or not as well. Most new phones come with an awesome feature that makes your videos look 10 times better, and I once took this video whilst out celebrating my mama's 75th birthday, and a friend genuinely asked me whether I got the videos from the restaurant's website. Head to your camera app, swipe right, and you'll be taken to cinematic mode. This gives the background of your video a blurry background, which is all done with AI. But if your phone doesn't have cinematic mode, then don't worry, because this next tool is going to help you out. My previous phone didn't come with cinematic mode, which sucked, and it meant filming high quality videos was going to be a lot harder, until I came across this game-changing app. It works similar to how cinematic mode works on an iPhone, but you have much more control over the settings, which allows you to get the perfect shot. But the next step is going to help out massively when it comes to filming yourself and make you a more confident person on camera. Every single one of my videos starts off with a script. Scripting a video just allows me to speak to camera with confidence. It makes sure that we don't spin away from the main topic of the video and allows you to keep the attention of your viewers. But there are multiple ways that you can read a script to make recording videos much easier. You could write your script word for word in a notebook and place it nearby or underneath your camera. You could also use your laptop by opening up Google Docs or Notion or some other note-taking app. But when you're reading a script, it can be easier to focus on the script rather than looking into the lens of the camera. Now, why would you want to look into the lens of the camera? Well, when you're talking to someone in a conversation, it'd be weird if I started to talk to you and look over this way. You'd start to think, what a weird guy. But when you talk to someone and make eye contact, you instantly make that connection and it's easier to talk to someone that way. And if you want your audience to connect with you as a YouTuber, then it's best practice to look into the lens of the camera, no matter how many takes you have to do. But there are ways to read a script whilst looking at your lens at the same time. I use my old phone to load up the teleprompter app, which I paste my script into from a Google Doc or Notion page. To keep my phone in one place and make it look like I'm looking into the lens, I use a Joby GorillaPod with my A-Lum phone mount and attach it to a music stand that I had lying about in the house. So it looks like I'm looking into the lens whilst reading the script. Even now, I still make the most of what I've got. But when it comes to editing, there are definitely some mobile apps that you should check out, and firstly is iMovie. iMovie is already installed on iPhones and it's easy for beginners to use. Secondly is CapCut, and this app is for more advanced edits, but it definitely takes your videos to the next level. This is the app I tend to use when creating short form content. You can add subtitles, graphics, text, and some pretty cool transitions. To help you out with all the products that I've mentioned so far in the video, I've put together a little guide with links to all the products that I've mentioned. You can also find the links to the products in the description of this video. But first, I'd love for you to comment your key takeaway from this video and what you're going to implement over the next week. And remember, if you ever want to reach out to me, then my contact details are in the description below. I hope you have an awesome week and I'll see you in the next one.